It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back, you beauties. Thank you so much for rejoining what has been the most rewarding conversation this morning. So let's take a health turn and add to that. Making a list from must-haves to the least important makes life a little bit easier. Sometimes you've got to prioritize, but how do you know when something is an essential or not, especially when it comes to treating your health at home? Well, here to discuss some winter health essentials when medical aid has been exhausted, I think a lot of people just suddenly looked up, are pharmacists from Takai Health Pharmacy, Marit Reynolds and Vilmay Labuschagne. Guys, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us so early.
Thank you.
Well, Vilmay, I'm going to jump straight in and ask you the first question. Let's go back to basics. How do colds and flu spread?
Oh.
So the flu and the common cold are both contagious respiratory illnesses that is caused by a virus. The flu is caused by the influenza virus and the cold by several other viruses like the parainfluenza virus or the rhinovirus. The flu is actually more intense and starts more abruptly than the common cold.
Wow.
But both these infections spread through respiratory droplets. So if you cough or sneeze, these germ-filled droplets spread into the air and somebody else can breathe it in, or it lands onto surfaces and somebody else touches it, and then they touch their mouth or nose or eyes and they will get infected. So you actually can't catch the cold by walking outside in the winter without your coat or with your wet hair.
Yeah, it's not that, okay.
You can just get infected by the virus itself.
Yeah, you would have thought COVID would have taught us that, but I know we find it difficult to take these on board. Marit, obviously you live in that space where people are coming for help because they feel absolutely awful. How important is it to get in there at the right time in terms of getting the right treatment and finding the right treatment for what's going on?
So colds and flu typically last about a week or two and then clear up by itself. So symptoms can be managed effectively with home remedies and over-the-counter medications. And there are antiviral treatments that are effective, which your doctor will prescribe if they are needed.
If it's needed, yeah.
Antibiotics do not treat colds and flu. And they should only be used if you have a secondary infection. And that you will know if you stay sick for longer than a week and your symptoms aren't starting to get better, you might have a bacterial infection and then you need antibiotics. Yes.
It does feel like there is a tendency for parents, not just the medical kind of fraternity, but for parents are like, oh, must be, get antibiotics, and then we feel better about ourselves as parents. Not necessarily what's needed. Yeah.
Not at all.
Yes.
Well, let's quickly unpack. I know a lot of South Africans probably don't have medical aid, and then there are who have medical aid, but it might be exhausted, so they have nothing left in their medical aid savings. What do we, Vilmay, do in that case when we go to the pharmacy and we ask you for what can I stock up on to make sure that I can get through this even though there's no money in the bank?
Okay, so yeah, it's quite nice to know that you can just only treat the symptoms, like Marit just mentioned, that it can't be treated with antibiotics or anything like that because it is a viral infection. So supplements that you can use is like vitamin C and zinc, vitamin D or echinacea. And you can get this from your local pharmacy. You can get it in tablet or syrup form for your kids. But if you don't have access to your medical aid, being exhausted or whatever the reason might be, you can actually get these supplements in through your daily diet as well. So vitamin C you can get in your seasonal fruits like your oranges or strawberries or kiwis, and zinc through your lentils and beef, and vitamin D, just go for a walk in the sun in your lunch break.
Yeah, hopefully today we'll play a game, but yeah, no, we often forget that we are built out of the system that we exist in. And if you feed good things, good information, good nutrients into that system, then it improves. We start balancing out. That being said, you talk about kind of having to shift gears if we've remained sick for too long. How do we know that we're getting it right and that the medication we're taking is working? And how does that look when we start coming out of, and I'm not talking about man flu, which I know is far worse than everything else, but in the normal kind of life cycle of being sick?
So since the medication that you are taking are treating your symptoms, as soon as the fever subsides or if your runny nose clears up, you can stop taking the items that you're taking for those specific symptoms. But the other essentials that Vilmay mentioned, like your vitamins and your immune boosters, you can continue taking that throughout the winter season, especially if you know that you are prone to getting colds and flu. You can continue taking that throughout the season to make sure that you stay healthy.
And just keep topping up. And if you've got a 3 or 4-year-old that's going to creche every day and bringing those little nasties back home, is all I'm going to say. Ladies, thank you so much for doing this every day for the people that you serve, but thank you for stepping out of your comfort zone to join us this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.